Ricky Flex, I love this. I love Knives Out casting. To me, it's very comparable to when the White Lotus is casting for an upcoming season. It's where you have a bunch of actors that are recognizable, that are great character actors coming together in one place in all of their glory, and they put on a show. Whether you look at both seasons of White Lotus, then you have Knives Out here, and then Glass Onion. You fantasize about fan casting these characters, and it kind of reminds me of what we do with like superheroes. You know how we always say, and we always have a idea of what a hero looks like, sounds like, how they should be portrayed on screen, and we say, oh, that actor should play that guy. Here it's a little bit different. We're just like, it's a Knives Out movie. Who do we want to see interact? Who are great supporting characters rather than leads for the most part that are going to steal the show every 5 to 10 minutes in the film? Who do we want to see bounce off each other? I'm very excited for this, Ricky Flex. Do you think that's a fair comp that I just made?
Yeah, I like the comp. I can't think of anything else where you're thinking, oh, like ensemble movie that's different every time. What who's going to be in it? Like, it's just like superheroes or Avengers or whatever. Like if you're predicting like who should play Captain America, who should play this superhero. That's the only thing I could really think of, but nothing where it's like a group where it's a one time only, Daniel Craig the exception, and after that they go their separate ways. There's really nothing like it.
There is nothing like it, I should say. And a lot of times when you look at Knives Out characters, there are commonalities. Like you have very different looking people, sounding people, and the way those characters, like I guess the skeleton of them is kind of similar. They're usually rich, they're usually douchebags, and that's where it's such a juicy type of thing to fan cast for, because these characters in these certain roles, and then we see like those names being put to paper, and it gets you even more excited. And let's just get into what the cast looks like, Ricky Flex, and then I think we should be able to grade the cast. So Knives Out 3, I should point out, is titled Wake Up Dead Man. Font we'll talk about, but I want to take a stab at what the setting might be for this film. Also, the title sounds a little bit Pirates of the Caribbean, Ricky Flicks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you thought that too. We
Yes.
had a movie, right? Like a Victorian house and Knives Out, and then you have Glass Onion, like obviously COVID, remote island. We might be at sea here, Ricky Flicks, a little Death on the Nile type of vibe here, at least in my opinion. This is releasing 2025 on Netflix. Let's run through the cast thus far. Daniel Craig back as Benoit Blanc. We have Glenn Close, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, Josh O'Connor, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, and Mila Kunis. Those are confirmed members of the cast by Knives Out, but there are also two rumored names that have not been confirmed. I'm wondering if this is going to be the two blockbuster names that they drop at the end of the week, because every day they progressively been announcing more and more names to this cast. Two rumored actors for Wake Up Dead Man. One, Tom Hardy, and two, Lindsay Lohan. Ricky Flicks, holy shit. Holy shit. And I think there is a stronger likelihood than not than these two are joining the cast the day after we're recording.
Uh, you sure about that? You sure about that?
They have a lot of fun with the social media on here. More, it's almost like reminiscent of The Boys, how what they do with TV and how like they want to like increase the hype engine for their show or for their movie. I think they have that one leaked before they started to confirm all these other castings. I wonder if that was the one that was unintentional. They knew they were going to release everybody this week progressively because they know the hype on social media and they know those two are going to get the biggest bang. It's just somehow that leaked. And those are the only two names that were not confirmed by the account. So I'm banking on those two dropping on Friday. It doesn't seem like you're convinced.
No, I'm pretty sure because like it was like a different source for those two. It was like a What's Up Netflix, and I think a proven source. It's not Variety. Well, another proven source said they're not in it. I don't
Okay.
have that source on me, so I don't want to get my hopes up for Tom Hardy. I already am happy. Hey, him and Mahershala Ali in a crime thriller together, I'll take it. I don't need any more. That suffices for me. That's just back on the right track for Hardy. But if he's in this, great.
If those two names are on there, that brings the cast to an even 10 with Benoit Blanc. So I don't know if that's too much. Knives Out seems like, and Knives Out had at least 10 members of its cast. I feel like Glass Onion was that, or maybe even a little bit less. I feel like those two were the most outlandish. The other uh, seven, excluding Daniel Craig, were very feasible or very imaginable, and I think very inspired castings compared to those two. Tom Hardy, first of all, it's just a way bigger name than anyone on this list, aside from maybe Glenn Close. But Glenn Close, I mean, she doesn't carry the same weight as Tom Hardy. And Lindsay Lohan, that's a very showy type of casting where these movies are fun, but there is a level of excellence to them. And if you have Lindsay Lohan in there, she brings down that level of excellence from a cast, or at least the expectations.
I also just want to say this. So those are like two of the first, out of the first wave, that rumor of Tom Hardy and Lindsay Lohan. What was the last wave? Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner, like a B-list Tom Hardy, and like Mila Kunis and Lindsay Lohan, that's comparable. I think maybe they were just throwing a rumor at us with comparable names, isn't just lookalikes, type of roles they play or who they are. Lindsay Lohan to Mila Kunis, Tom Hardy to Jeremy Renner. I think someone was just throwing out rumors, and it was actually those two.
Those two, I guess, do not sound that believable. I think I'm starting to buy what you're selling, Ricky Flex. But I graded this cast, and I know you graded them as well in terms of like the choice for a Knives Out story, A through F. And I think we could run through. And even if that is a rumor for Hardy and Lindsay Lohan, I did give them a grade as well. And I think we start off with Mila Kunis. Mila Kunis, do you want me to go first, then you go? You want to go, then I go? What do you want to do here?
You go first, and then I'll go, and then we could switch off or whatnot.
All right, Mila Kunis, buckle up, Ricky Flex. Casting for Knives Out 3, I'm giving it a D.
Ooh, all right, I gave it a C.
I don't like this at all. First off, like very much like in the know, people on social media, they're built up to like who's going to be in this movie, Knives Out 3. One of the latest additions. You have Mila Kunis here. First off, not in the highest of regard with social media or with the public at large. But I really do think you have Aubrey Plaza right there and you go Mila Kunis. And I think of White Lotus season 2 and what she did there. And I just talked about the comp of like the opportunity White Lotus and Knives Out give to like great character actors. Who would you rather see in a Knives Out movie? Like Aubrey Plaza and Mila Kunis. I feel like Aubrey Plaza is weirder and can do everything Mila Kunis has. Like she has the sex appeal, but she also has an oddballness to her. Mila Kunis, first of all, hasn't really been in the mix in a long time. I don't know if I trust her really at this point. I find her casting actually similar to like a Kate Hudson that we had in Knives Out. Glass Onion. But Kate Hudson, there's something about her. She's been nominated for an Oscar. You can say all you want about the rom-com she's been in, and she absolutely looks fantastic in Glass Onion. I'm sure Mila Kunis will do the same. But what have you done for me lately? I'm giving this a D. I just think you could have had Aubrey Plaza probably.
Okay, you sold me. So this is my lowest grade. So I actually do want to, just on a relative value standpoint, on the spectrum of all these castings, I want to do it a little lower. So yeah, I'm gonna go D2. Change it a little bit. I did think of Kate Hudson, I will say, and with this casting, because she's a little older, and then also, what have you done for me lately? Kate Hudson again was coming off of God, what was that god awful musical type of movie that she did, that she also directed? God, I forget. But
is that the one with the girl who pretended to be
autistic? Yeah.
Autistic? Is that her?
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. Tough.
So like she was coming off something bad. Like the floor was literally she was at rock bottom. And then she came back and did this. So I wanted to give Mila Kunis a little hope here. And also, like, she has dabbled in the prestige and also comedy pretty decently. Black Swan, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So like that blend that Knives Out is, like, I feel like, oh, maybe we cook with a little bit of fire. But you are right. What have you done for me lately? Not much. She'll need to, pull Kate Hudson. Really.
Did you say comedies like Black Swan? Did you just
No, like prestige mixed with comedy. So like
you
a Black Swan versus Forgetting Sarah Marshall comedy, prestige comedy.
Yeah. And the thing is, like both those movies, like we're talking 2009, 2010, 2011,
right.
It's just like We're talking over a decade ago, and it seems like Ashton Kutcher and her have kind of like, they don't act anymore. It seems like almost like where Ryan Reynolds is, it seems like their outside ventures have gotten them to the places,
They're
gotten
like
them
C-list
places,
Ryan
and it
Reynolds.
seems like they're like acting is like their second job. It's like they're not even like a priority for them anymore. You know what I mean by that? Like Ryan Reynolds is too big. Like he keeps making projects, but he has so much other stuff going on. He just seems like more like a mogul. Not that they're moguls. It just seems like that acting isn't a priority for them. At least it appears that way. So maybe a small thing in a Knives Out tale could be good for them, especially if they're trying to get more involved and they're looking to act more. But I'm not in on Mila Kunis. Right? I was back in Forgetting Sarah Marshall days and that 70s show. But aside from that, no.
I forgot Ashton Kutcher was in that Your Place or Mine. Was that Reese Witherspoon movie last year? I think it was Netflix.
I think he forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
I want to move on to another actor. Let's go to Kerry Washington. Kerry Washington, known as a great TV actor, and someone that I'm not too familiar with, and I don't watch her shows. They're highly dramatized. A lot of times they're like cable syndicated, and she is someone I like in Django, but like Django is not. It's obviously a story where she's not really empowered too much, right? She is like the the beautiful girl in the castle that needs to be saved, in Django. Here, I gave it a C plus. I know it has had her moments, but really hasn't done it lately. Kind of, I look at Janelle Monáe, who is like similar looking and like gentle, but also powerful figure in Glass Onion, and had to do dual roles. And I think that it's a lot to live up to. If there's, I'm just gonna be thinking of Janelle Monáe the entire time, so I don't really like the casting. Not saying Kerry Washington isn't a great actress, but I'll be thinking about Janelle Monáe the entire time. But yeah, just not a huge fan, so I'm giving it a C plus.
Yeah, and for me, a C for me. My problem is that you're gonna be thinking of Janelle Monáe too much. Looks very similar. I honestly I've never seen Little Fires Everywhere. I've never seen Scandal. Two Little Fires Everywhere, relatively newer show, and not only like a season or two, and Scandal like a bunch of seasons, and she starred in that. But besides that, like, speak about what have you done for me lately? She hasn't been at the box office really. The Ray and Django are the only movies I could really think of, which she was great in both of them. But what have you done for me lately? Going back to the Mila Kunis argument. But I do recognize that she is a good actress versus Mila Kunis, who, not really, not as much experience as a Kerry Washington. So automatically a better casting. And definitely, I feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel like this is like oh, what the hell? Like, this is more like okay, fine. Like, this is a fine casting.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a veteran to the cast, especially when we go to the next one, Kaylee Spaney. C minus. C minus for Kaylee Spaney. Doesn't scream character actor to me. I don't even know what she wants to be yet. I know she's signing up for a bunch of projects. She's in a bunch of she was obviously she was just in Civil War for A24, like their biggest quote unquote blockbuster. She's going to be an Alien Romulus. She's just signed up for season 2 of Beef. And it seems like there's a lot of exciting things happening for her. But after Priscilla and after Civil War, it's not like I'm saying I know what she is. I know what to expect. I think this is a good opportunity for her, but I don't know who she is yet, and she doesn't scream like splashy, like character actor, like a bunch of other Knives Out movies have displayed. So maybe she's going to do something different that I really didn't know she had in her bag, but I don't think that bag is very big right now. I just don't trust her enough, and I don't know what she can do. I think she was pretty safe in the hands of Civil War when she's being cuddled by like Kirsten Dunst the entire movie. Like Kirsten Dunst is doing the heavy lifting in that movie. I'm speaking metaphorically, obviously, but I had Priscilla. She had moments where I thought she was good. Other times I didn't think she was as good. I think that was a lot for her to take on. And it's like, I know she's going to be talented, but I don't know if I trust her in a splashy movie like this that has so many great veteran actors in it. So I'm giving it a C minus.
Okay, I'm on the other end. I'm B minus. B minus, because I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with you, but this is what Knives Out will allow her to do, is kind of expand her, her versatility. see what she's capable of doing. And you mentioned Priscilla, you mentioned Civil War, both kind of internal roles there. And she's going to be an alien Romulus. She might be a very similar role there, but then have to break out into like an anger or a more physical role at some point in that movie. It's just an alien movie, so she will. Here, like, it could be a very minor role. And I'm not going to say it's like the Outer Banks girl. I forget her name.
Madeline Klein.
Thank you, Madeline Klein. I'm not saying it would be
Bring
the
her
same
back.
exact role,
Bring her
but
back.
it could be like a smaller role like that she could just nail and be like, all right, solid. Just add it to the resume, and just gaining that notoriety. I think this is a good get for her. I really do. And it could really be a test. And again, adding to her bag. I think that's what she's trying to do right now, to try to find out who she's trying to become. And working with Ryan Johnson, like, that doesn't hurt either. So B- for me.
I guess why I rated this low, you have the potential. Like you're saying, like, look what like could happen because of this. I'm thinking that she can't do this. I'm just not as high on her. I don't mean to be a dick, but I kind of mean to be a dick. I just don't think she's that good.
I just think
Like,
when you work with Alex Garland, you work with Sofia Ford Coppola, there's obviously something in you or something to you
people see
that
something.
these great directors are like, oh, and then Ryan Johnson's like, oh, let's just grab her real quick, up and coming actress. Yeah, I feel like, oh, he can bring, it might not be what we've seen already, but I think that's a good thing, really, because, I think Civil War, she was fine, as in nothing bad about it, but like it was definitely the Kirsten Dunst show for the most part. And then and Priscilla, I would agree with you that she had her moments, but like nothing that was like holy crap, like she's upcoming, she's gonna be she's gonna be in our top 10 young actors under 30. Like, no, that's not what that role was not that for her. And I'm not saying this role will be for her, but it could just be something to add to her bag to keep going.
She's a little plucky in Civil War. She's a little plucky in Priscilla. She could be plucky here. Does she have like that sarcasm in her for one of these types of movies? We'll see. All right, moving on. I'll save Lindsay Lohan. She was next on my list. I'll save the two rumored castings for later. Glenn Close, B plus.
Oh,
Glenn Close is the veteran actor that, first of all, has the prestige, been nominated for a zillion Oscars, famously has never won the big one. But I get like Jamie Lee Curtis vibes here, but also just like a better actor than Jamie Lee Curtis, someone that could, I don't know, it's going to definitely have moments where she's going to have an epic long monologue that's going to be saved for her in this movie. You need someone, I feel like Knives Out was perfect blend of young and old actors. Glass Onion was leaning more on the younger side. The oldest person, probably like Edward Norton in that movie, like in his early 50s, mid 50s, maybe. Here, it's like we're getting back to what I like about the original Knives Out, where it's just like anyone can pop out here, such a diverse cast. I like seeing Kaylee Spaney and then talking about Glenn Close. I think that's a big part of why it was so amazing to watch those characters go at it, those family members in the original Knives Out. I am in on this casting. I think Glenn Close just brings a lot. You don't need to bring legitimacy. This is a movie that both movies have been nominated for Oscars, but I think Glenn Close, it's just a veteran name you can lean on and trust. That's why B plus is just a solid score. I'm personally not a big Glenn Close fan. Right, like with her, I literally think of like 101 Dalmatians. I think of Cruella de Vil, but I also think about what an eccentric role, what a villain, right? What a rich elite character. And guess what? We're in a Knives Out franchise movie. Just give me Glenn Close B plus.
8-time Oscar nominee, no Oscar wins. That's remarkable. This is an upgrade on Jamie Lee Curtis, as in at the time Jamie Lee Curtis, not an Oscar winner, trying to make a comeback. Not a comeback, but just like proving her legitimacy versus just the name and star. I love this casting. I really do. I think this is just like the Jamie Lee Curtis, like you mentioned. And you're right. Like, it doesn't bring like that legitimacy because it is Ryan Johnson. It is Knives Out. We had 2 good movies already. One great, one good, in my opinion. But Glenn Close, like, if you look at this casting, it's like, oh, like, this is a freaking great actor. If you look at the list of actors that are here, she has the best resume, like, by far. And if you look at the Knives Out casting history, it's like she's probably the best resume right there with Edward Norton.
She's the most trusted name easily on this list.
Yeah, so I'm not the biggest Glenn Close fan either, And I recognize like what he done for me lately argument that you made earlier. You can say the same thing about her. Last thing she like notable that was in Hillbilly Elegy, which she was nominated for an Oscar, but that movie was absolute dog crap. One of the worst movies I've seen. Um, but I gave this an A minus.
A-. Wow. Yeah, I see that. Like, look at the names we just brought up. Like Kaylee Spaney, Kerry Washington, either like young or just really don't have much box office appeal or haven't been in many great projects in general. Glenn Close is an 8-time Oscar nominee. Like, bring her on board. I like it, Ricky Flex. Moving on. Uh, Andrew Scott. A. A. And this is a big thing. I've been watching Ripley. And you think about the character of Tom Ripley, a great character for someone that's trying to fake it in high class society. Andrew Scott's amazing in that role. You play Tom Ripley, you could be a part of the Knives Out franchise. I feel like that's automatic. You know, he had All of Us Strangers, kind of a breakout role. It seems like he's kind of always been an actor's actor, and he seems to be flourishing now. There's an opportunity for him to just like show everybody, right, what he's capable of. All the Strangers obviously like has a little bit of like Oscar buzz to it, but nobody's seen that goddamn movie. Even when it hit streaming, no one's seen that goddamn movie. I think it was in Preacher. Was he Preacher? Was he the preacher in that show? He was the priest in whatever show that was that I think
Yes.
had really a decent cult following. I'll look up what the name of it was in a second, but I think he is having that late career renaissance that we always talk about with like J.K. Simmons and those type of guys. He's like mid 40s type of dude who's finally hitting it strong. Great character actor, which means he's good for this type of film. He is an A, Ricky Flex, and I don't know what you're gonna say, but if you watch Ripley, you'd buy him definitely in a Knives Out movie.
Yeah, I think you made the argument. I gave it an A minus. Only reason why I guess I'm not higher on it. I haven't seen a lot. I haven't seen All of Us Strangers. I haven't seen Ripley, like two of the probably the best things he's been in as a leading guy. But there's other people on this list who I like more for Knives Out. Like there's an I don't want like I was trying to say like I'm trying to save like the high end and the low end, like the A's and the F's. Like I'm saving that. Like I'm only giving one A. I'm only giving one F, and I'm saving my one A for somebody.
I'm spraying everything across the board here, Ricky Flex. I got C's, I got B's, I got C minuses, I got A's, I got an A plus with this next one. Josh O'Connor. He is an A plus. A plus for the Knives Out franchise. This franchise is known for having rich people who are douchebags. We just saw Josh O'Connor play a rich kid turned into basically a homeless guy living on his own. Still always a douchebag on the inner court in challengers. I talked about it. He could be an awesome anti-hero or a villain in whatever project he's in. He seems perfect for Knives Out 3. Josh O'Connor is an A plus, and I'm glad he's going to do it on a large scale compared to challengers, which I think just crossed $80 million at the box office. Love this casting.
This is the best Knives Out casting we've ever had. You could really picture him as the Chris, as you know what I mean.
Whoa.
Like as in like on paper before Knives Out came versus like the last film. Like you can't obviously Knives Out 1, we didn't know what it was gonna be, so you only can compare it to the last film. There's my clarification. Crap. Now I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. He is going to be either like the Chris Evans of Knives Out, or maybe and you can see that villainous side and also that rich kid vibe that you get, like you mentioned, or he's gonna be like an Ed Norton. It's one of those two. It's a perfect casting. A plus, unbelievable. And like his run, like he's gonna be in that Paul Mescal movie, The History of Sound. I think he's gonna be in another Luca Guadagnino movie. He's just on an insane run now, and I think Luca Guadagnino and Lea Seydoux movie. So holy crap, like this guy is on an absolute heater.
I feel like he is in the same family tree as Paul Mescal. Like he is not at the top of the tree. He's like a tier below, and he's always in these niche movies. He will sometimes spring in like wider scene movies like we had with him in Challengers. This is an opportunity for him to be more widely seen, obviously, but he's always doing like niche type of projects. He's doing like He's in a lot of gay movies and like bisexual movies that like literally just don't have a mass appeal. You know, he's just unafraid to do those type of movies. But then you watch Challengers and you see the fascination Luda Guadagnino has with them. You're like, this guy has something. Challengers, one of the most anticipated releases of the summer. Guess who has the best performance, at least in my opinion? Josh O'Connor. So let's see him in Knives Out. You don't have to give him all the great lines, but you know what you give him, he's going to absolutely deliver. So I'm in.
He's played the rich kid, like in Challengers, he was a rich kid. He in Emma, he was a rich like Brit, and obviously The Crown, he's Prince Charles, for God's sake. So like he knows how to play the rich kid and also the douchebag, the rich douchebag, like in Challengers. So I'm all in on this cast.
And Emmy, what nominee for Prince
Charles, The Crown.
Yeah, The Crown. So like he has done something that is somewhat widely seen. Like Crown's pretty big deal.
Huge. One of the bigger Netflix shows.
Lastly, but not least, Jeremy Renner. This is tough. This is tough for me, Ricky Flex. I'm blending heart and emotion with my mind, and I'm gonna give this a B. Jeremy Renner casting a B. Someone who at least was a great character actor early on in his career, and maybe hasn't shown it for a long period of time. But dude, this guy was the anger fueled, uncontrollable madman from the town. If we can bring that out of him somehow for Knives Out, God damn it, we're on to something special. He obviously had the snowplow accident, and he's been doing Marvel projects for obviously the last 10 years. And then he's been mixed in with Mission Impossible. He was potentially going to be the next Bourne. You know, he's in and out a bunch of franchise stuff. Someone who has such wide appeal, but also has the potential or did have the ability to play such great character actors. It's the comeback story for me that makes it such a great casting, and it has the high profile name, and you're going to see him do something that we don't typically see him do. Just in terms of sheer excitement, I'm giving it a B. Do I think he can still do what he did back in 2010 with The Town? I don't know, dude. That was 14 years ago, you know? But I do think he can channel it. I think he has been stuck in the Marvel machine for a long time and has been trying to get out. And then also, he's probably on this type of tour, comeback tour I'm talking about, trying to prove something. Very excited about this casting. Definitely gets the people talking. B.
Comeback kid. This guy literally almost died from that plow accident. God, Mayor of Kingstown I haven't seen, but I haven't heard great things. I haven't heard terrible things. But that's what he's kind of been doing post-Marvel. The reason why I have some hope, two reasons. One, pre-Marvel, this guy was the guy. This is the guy they wanted to replace Tom Cruise with in the freaking Mission Impossibles. This is the guy that did Wind River in 2017. So like kind of during the Marvel run there, he did The Hurt Locker right before The Town. Like this guy has crazy versatility. And
he's a crazy man in both those movies, like The Town and The Hurt Locker. Just madman.
But you know what I think the role he's going to play in this? I think he's going to be more like a tag.
Oh, like Edward Norton. You think he's like the Ed Norton of this movie?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Easygoing, like not as high of a toll on his body or anything like that.
Yep, arrogant too. He could play that very easily. It's an easier part to play. It's a nice little comeback role for him. And it's a likable role. And we all know Jeremy Renner.
Is he the guy that got to wake up?
He could be. And he's the like right now, like post plow. The guy loves to be like post plow. But like this guy, like he had his own app, for God's sakes. I'm telling you, I feel like he could play that Edward Norton type of role pretty well. He did it in Tag well. I feel like he could do it on this type of stage.
Yeah, I'm my best wishes are for Jeremy Renner in this movie. I think he doesn't have to carry a heavy load in this movie, metaphorically. He literally doesn't. Look at the sheer size of the cast. That's like he doesn't. Oh God damn! I can't believe I just said that. About the snowplow incident. I take that back immediately. Much respect to Hawkeye himself, Clint Barton, but I hope he can pull it off here. I hope he can pull it off. I'm going to stop talking about him in case I say anything else offensive about him. But Ricky Flex, did you give it a grade?
I gave it a C+.
C+. Wow. I guess I have more faith in our faithful Avenger. Rumored castings. I'll just say them really quick. Lindsay Lohan, D minus. That
F
was
for me.
It was an F for you. So I have a
F.
D minus for Lindsay Lohan. Love the ambition, but first off, I saw the Christmas movie from a couple years back. It's freaking awful. It might have been from last Christmas. I don't even remember. I try my best to forget that I ever saw it. I question what the execution would even look like if she was in this movie. I think it would be funny if she was like the dead person at the beginning of the movie. I think that would be like the best possible situation in terms of the most laughs. I feel like every time Lindsay Lohan is in something, you have to make a meta joke about Lindsay Lohan in the project, which I think takes away from the movie.
So
Don't make it about her. She doesn't deserve for us to make it about her. She's god awful. And it feels like a really like an F list Kate Hudson casting from the last movie. Tom Hardy, rumored. I gave that an A. I gave that an A, Ricky Flex. He
A
can
plus.
play. He could be a lead, but he could be a character actor too. He could play a great douchebag. He could play a rich dude who has style. And then he has box office appeal, star appeal, and then high level of acting ability. He is like the only thing you would say about him, he might be too big for Knives Out.
He is too big for Knives Out. I said it. He is. But there's two things I want to say. One, he's on the comeback trail, like I said before. So I think he's back to picking proper roles and not doing Venom, not doing Capone. I think he's back on this trail, and I don't think he's in this. But even if he was, I trust him now. I'm back to trusting him. Now, what part will he play if he was in this? And I immediately think Inception. And I think, what if he was Benoit Blanc's brother?
He's doing an accent, no doubt.
But what if he was the dead man? And Benoit Blanc is doing he's trying to solve his brother's murder or something like that. That's what I was thinking. So maybe this is just like a Ethan Hawke type of casting where it's like he's in it for 5 minutes, but he's the dead man.
Like we just had Hugh Grant as the lover of Benoit Blanc in Glass Onion. So I'm saying it's similar to that where it's like just give him some love a little bit in the beginning. And just like we thought Edward Norton was going to die at the beginning of Glass Onion when we first were introduced to him, we thought it was going to be like a similar play as we had in Knives Out. I don't know. I think you could kill off Tom Hardy really quick, or you could somehow creatively find him to be a part of the movie without being the focus of the movie. I think Rian Johnson does a really good job with that type of
imagine
writing.
Daniel Craig, who was James Bond, and Tom Hardy, who I want to be James Bond. A lot of people rumored to have James Bond, or in past times, or wanted to have him as James Bond. Them sharing the screen together as brothers, or at least partners, in a flashback, and they're trying to solve in present time trying to solve his murder, but they're flashing back to when something crazy.
You are talking crazy. I'll tell you that you are talking
Tom
crazy.
Hardy.
There's no way, and then you talked about your skepticism on whether Lindsay Lohan and Tom Hardy would be in this movie. I think after what you just said, 100% they're not going to be in this fucking movie.
Yeah,